right, Troy, so you're here to celebrate your beer. Tell us about it.
Well, we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary, and our first year was an overwhelming success. Really proud of what we were able to accomplish. And, you know, the beer itself, I don't know how much you know about it, but, you know, we wanted a beer that complemented my lifestyle, light beer, low calorie, low carb. We did that, 90 calories, 2.6 carbs. But the best part about it is we use 100% organic grains, antioxidant hops, and we have no adjuncts and no fillers. So we added no corn, rice, syrup, or sugars, which is unusual. We're the only widely available beer that can say that, so it really is a better for you beer. It's for people who wake up and have a purpose and want to be the best that they can be. And I tried to model it for people who have similar lifestyles to my own. And I think that for those that are active, that put in the work during the week and then want to be able to celebrate with family and friends on a weekend or whenever the time calls for it, they can do it without compromising a lot of that hard work. And it's been really well received, so I'm proud of it.
In your wildest dreams, did you think it would take off like this?
Yeah, probably. I'm a pretty optimistic guy, and we had high expectations, but it's done really well. I think that there's a couple things. One, I'm really proud of my team. I have great partners. I have really smart partners. I learned a long time ago that you're only as good as the teammates you have. And I've had great teammates throughout my life, and I do with the beer project. But even those that are out in the field do an unbelievable job. So I'm proud for a startup company to be able to have the impact that we've had. But then also just the way that it's been received and the taste. And I think that people that have tried it, you know, have come back and it's resonated well with them.
So next Thursday, we're sitting there, we're watching the NFL draft. We got a couple of cold 8s in our hand.
Yeah.
Who should the Cowboys take first, in your opinion?
Well, I think the moves they made this offseason give them some real flexibility. You know, being able to bring in a guy like Brandon Cooks and then Stephon Gilmore, and you know, those are two big centerpieces for them that allows them some flexibility and look at the draft maybe a little differently than they otherwise would have. So as far as who they're going to go after, it's anybody's guess. You know, they're later in the first round. They've still got some needs, of course, but I think they've put themselves in a position where they truly can go after the best player that's available on the board.
When they let Zeke go, you said they're definitely going to miss his leadership in the locker room.
Yeah.
Do you see a scenario where he comes back to the Cowboys?
I could. I know that there was not an offer made to him to keep him, and I think that probably was the right decision. I know that the organization had said that they didn't want to offend him. But if he goes out, and I'm sure he has, he's been testing the market, and he feels like he could maybe get a similar contract with the Cowboys, I think they'd love to have him. He really is a key part of that football team, and it doesn't always translate to what's happening on the field. I experienced that when I was playing. I know what he means to those players, and you can't underestimate the importance of a guy like that in the locker room.
Recently, there's been a lot of criticism of Jerry Jones, a lot of fans. I work with some at KSAT that say the boys are not going to win another Super Bowl as long as he's the GM and owner. What do you think about that criticism?
Well, they haven't yet. So, I mean, and, you know, until that happens, people that say that are right. You know, it's kind of like Dak. Can he win a Super Bowl? Well, you know, until he does, there's always going to be those questions as to whether or not he will. I don't know. I think the confusing part has been they have been really good in the preseason. In the regular season, they've done a lot of good things. They've won a lot of games, and for whatever reason, it just hasn't translated into a great deal of success in the postseason. They haven't played their best football when they've gotten into the postseason. How do you change that? I think that's the $1 million question. You know, that nobody's yet been able to figure it out. If you give yourself a chance enough times, eventually the dam's going to break. But it's a long year, I know that this is a team that's now put themselves in a position to where they're only judged on what they do in the postseason. So these are long seasons, 17 games, in order to get back to those games that are relevant and why you've been playing for the whole year.
All these years later, when you see these 3 trophies, what does that mean?
It means a lot. I mean, it really does. It's those were amazing years for us. I was thrilled to be a part of it. When I was drafted first overall, I was drafted to bring a world championship to the Dallas Cowboys, and to be able to do that and then do it 2 more times. Probably what I'm most proud of is, and it's not just me, it's my teammates and everyone who was a part of that, but Roger Staubach had won a couple Super Bowls. We won ours, and now that's the bar. I mean, that's the standard. So that's what I'm most proud of, is that my group in the 90s furthered the legacy that the teams of the 70s had established.
And then my last question for you: Damar Hamlin's been cleared for full contact, normal football activities. Man, how does that make you feel?
Unbelievable. I mean, I just posted something on Instagram about it because I was at that game when it happened. And we weren't real sure he was going to be alive when he left the field. And so to be able to survive that and now have the ability to come back and resume his football career is just phenomenal. I mean, a lot of prayers answered. I know that I speak for the country, that everyone's rejoicing that he's going to be able to come back and play. And what a great young man. He has been through it all. I mean, he's really inspired an entire nation because of the way that he has handled it. And he's got a lot of good things ahead of him on the football field, but even away from it. And I know he'll use that platform well.